Hmm. Thank you. So we have discussed many things about Indian conception of life so far. So now let us concentrate on two, three another important aspects of Indian conception of life. The first, as we have already discussed about that aspect to a certain extent, because many complaints that why I am focusing on the importance given by Indian conception of life to the human existence. Why? Because it is the acquisition of the West that you do not give due importance to your human existence. You are only concerned about the supreme reality. But it is not the case in reality. It is not the case in reality. Because Mahabharats and Ramayans are the story of human lives only. Kurukshetra war was fought by human beings. Indian poetry, Indian art, Indian sculpture, Indian literature, India's monumental architecture, are these not proof of human are these not proof of importance given to human existence? But still, West is also always trying to tell our educated people that whatever philosophy of life or conception of life you pursue, all is directed towards Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. And it is their deliberate attempt. Why they are making this deliberate attempt? Because they are to westernize our elites. They are to alienate our elites. And that is why they always speaks of Indian philosophy as something which escapes from life. And Maharishi is countering this fact. So that is why I have discussed towards the end of my first session about the importance given to human existence by Indian conception of life. And it will be continued. So Maharishi writes or continues the dignity given to human existence by the Vedantic thought, and by the thought of the classical age of Indian culture, and by the thought of classical age of Indian culture, he says, exceeds anything conceived by the Western idea of humanity. Dignity given to human life. Because we are to ask, what sort of dignity has been given by Western thought to the human existence? Apart from satisfaction of vital enjoyment, apart from cultivation of intellectuality, apart from cultivation of reason, but they do not know why they are cultivating reason, why they are cultivating the powers of intellectuality. Do they have any purpose? Because they are only concerned about your birth, about your growth, and about your death. But Indian conception of life envisages a life which should target or which have a higher purpose to be achieved. And what is that higher purpose? The self-discovery. Who am I? Why I am here on this particular existence? why I am here on this earth, what exactly do I want to achieve. Yes, I am a professor at IIT Guwahati. I am getting salary, I am supporting my family. But these are your livelihood is not your goal. Your livelihood is your main means. You must have aim in life. Because we are here, we are born here to be reborn. Because biological birth is insufficient. After biological birth, you are to be born here again. And what is the meaning of new birth? Asatu ma sadgamaya, tamasu ma jyotirgamaya, mrittur ma amritam gamaya. First, you are to affirm yourself. Second, you are to evolve yourself. Third, you are to exceed yourself. But West does not have such type of hierarchy of human goals. Yes, but they are giving you enough permission and enough scope to satisfy your vital desires. They are trying to govern your life through your reason, through intellectuality, through art, through ethics, through morality. They are also focusing on equality, fraternity, brotherhood, etc. But why they are doing all these things? Here in Assam, I do not know whether you have heard the name of a poet, philosopher, Jyoti Prasad Tagorawala. He says in a single sentence, rather it represents the whole of India's philosophy in a single sentence. And he also followed in his life Sri Aurobindo. He said, Rupantore matu jagat dhuniya kore. Rupantar means transformation. E mur Gayatri mantra. The meaning is, it is only the transformation which makes our world beautiful. You cannot make this world beautiful through your reason. Reason can help. You cannot make your world beautiful by your chemistry, physics, mechanical engineering. They can only help. They can give you some sort of material basis, material foundation. But unless and until your life is transformed, because by transformation, he is insisting on transformation of life. Unless and until life is transformed, and that is to say, you are to affirm yourself first. In this universe, you are to affirm, then you are to evolve yourself. And what is the meaning of evolving yourself? Whatever within you, powers, qualities, everything has to be manifested. You are to unite your individual consciousness with the universal consciousness. You have to become a universal man. That is what is called you are evolving. But even after evolving, you are to surpass yourself. Rupantore he jagat dhuniya kore. It is only by transformation world can be made beautiful. And this is my Gayatri mantra. So he has no other Gayatri mantra. He has only one Gayatri mantra. And what is that? It is only by transformation. Rupantarehe. It is only by transformation. Nanna pantha vidyate. No other ways. As Sri Aurobindo says in his Life Divine, a perfected world cannot be created by man or composed of men who are themselves imperfect. So you have to perfect yourself. So this is not a world which we aspired for or which we are aspiring for. It is in process. It is in progress. But for that, you have to transform your vital. You have to transform your reason. You have to transform your intellectuality. You have to transform your body. Maharishi, in his magnum opus on poetical magnum opus, epical magnum opus, titled Savitri. It is the longest epic in English language. Have you heard about that or not? I am not aware. If you are asked the longest epic in English literature, and epic is also created in our modern time. Maharishi created that epic in English language. It is the longest epic in English literature, which is called Savitri. It contains more than 24,700 verses. It is the longest epic in English literature. Not the longest epic in the world, because longest epic in the world is the Mahabharata, but that is in Sanskrit. I am speaking of longest epic in English literature. Savitri is the longest epic, written by Maharishi in 20th century. And here there is a sentence. He says, a day will come when says, body shall remember God. Even the body shall remember God. Not only your mind, not only your soul, not only your intellectuality, even body shall remember God. And for that, even body has to be transformed. Even matter also has to be transformed. Not only your nature, not only consciousness is to be expanded. And that is why his yoga is called yoga of transformation. Transformation of whole world, transformation of the very substance of humanity. Humanity needs to be converted into into altogether a different species. That is what he mean by the word transformation. Transformation is not change. Transformation is not change. Transformation is only remaining the spirit intact. You are a new thing, new creation. So the very word transformation is a very dearer word in Sri Aurobindo sadhana. The very word rupantar or transformation. It holds a very prominent position in the whole yoga of Sri Aurobindo. And in Assam, Rupkor Jyoti Prasad Agarwala takes up this word. যে রূপান্তরে হে জগৎ দুনিয়া করে এ মোর গায়ত্রী মন্ত্র. It is only by transformation you can make your world beautiful. But transformation of what? Transformation of your life. Your desire has to be transformed into yearning. And then your yearning has to be transformed into aspiration. But aspiration is not eagerness. Eagerness is something different. Eagerness is associated with tolerance. Eagerness is associated with intoleration. And what is aspiration? Purer and higher will. And what is desire? Desire is always something which is not your essential requirement. But need is not desire. Need is a separate thing. India is never advocating for renouncement of your need. What India advocates for the renouncement of your desire. Desire is something additional. Even without satisfaction of your desire, you can very well exist. But without the satisfaction of your need, you cannot exist. You have to eat something for the very survival. That is what is called need. But you are wanting a watch which will cost rupees 1 lakh rupees. That is not your need. That is desire. And another characteristics of desire is, normally when desire is not satisfied, you get angry. You get dissatisfied. But when need is not fulfilled as per your expectation, you are not that angry. But when desire is not fulfilled, you get angry, you get depressed. And what is yearning? Yearning is when you just when a small child, 2 years boy, 3 years boy, uh, is trying to walk, sometimes he or she falls down. Even then, that boys, that children are not got angry. It is yearning. He is trying to know something. It is his yearning. But still it is not higher and purer will. So yearning, the word yearning is greater than desire. Again, aspiration is the higher and purer will. So, how transformation should take place? From desire, you have to transform your desire into yearning. Then you have to transform your yearning into aspiration. When you are targeting to become first, it is desire, it is ambition, it is egoistic. But when you are targeting, no, I will do as best as possible, this is aspiration. But when you are targeting yourself that no, I should stood first, then it becomes an ambition. It is not aspiration. Because if your ambition is not fulfilled, then you will be got angry if your ambition is not fulfilled. But when your ambition to become first should be transformed into will to do the best possible. The mother says two things. What is the process of transformation? And by this type of processes, you grow into Nara from Posumanav, from Nara into Naruttam, through Naruttam into Narayan. So transformation is the key. Without transformation, you cannot make your life beautiful. You cannot make your world beautiful. So transformation is the key. That is why Rupkor Jyoti Prasad says, the transformation can only make world beautiful. This is only my Gayatri mantra. I have no other Gayatri mantra. And he also writes that Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra. Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra. That is to say, the journey of yours and mine. Towards what? Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra. Journey of yours and mine of knowledge, of light. Is it not Tamasu Ma Jyotir Gamaya? Huh? And he says, Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra, Ami Palu Jibanor Ortho Abhinava. Ortho Abhinava means noble meaning of life. And what is that noble meaning of life? It is nothing but Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra, Ami Palu Jibanor Ortho Abhinava. It is nothing but the very prolific translation of the Upanishadic mantra. Asatu Ma Sat Gamaya, Tamasu Ma Jyotir Gamaya. Tamasu Ma Jyotir Gamaya is the Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra. Journey of life of whom? Of you and me. That is to say, he was focusing on collective journey of life, not only individual journey of life. Ture Mure means you and me. By these two simple words, he was focusing on the collective journey of life. Is it not Tamasu Ma Jyotir Gamaya? Then he is focusing on Ami Palu Jibanor Ortho Abhinava. We have got the noble meaning of life. And what is the noble meaning of life? Mrittur Ma Amritam Gamaya. Noble meaning is the becoming Narayanhood, is the becoming when you will become Brahman. This is the noble meaning. And that is why he says, we have to bring down eternal beauty to this earth. As Bhagirath descended Ganga into the world. It is the responsibility of artists. He was focusing on, he was using the word Sirokundar. Sirosundar means eternal beauty. And who is eternal beauty? Sri Krishna is the eternal beauty. This Amritam Gamaya is the Sirosundar. By this word eternal beauty. So according to him, there is only one responsibility of artists. And what is that? As Bhagirath did to Ganges, as a Ganga, because Bhagirath, through the sadhana of Bhagirath, Ganga came down to earth. Accordingly, through the sadhana of modern artists, Sirokundar, that is to say, eternal beauty has to descend. And descent of eternal beauty is nothing but you are to transform your life from Nara to Naruttam to Narayan. That is what he is insisting. In other words, Ture Mure Alu Kore Jatra, Ami Palu Jibanor Artho Abhinava. Artho Abhinava is the noble meaning of life. Noble meaning of life. So that is why Maharishi says the dignity given to human existence by the Vedantic thought and by the thought of the classical ages of Indian culture exceed anything conceived by the Western idea of humanity. This is the first thing. Second thing, he says, man in the West has always been only an ephemeral creator of nature. Ephemeral creator of nature. You have no past and also you have no future. This is your only life. But what India speaks of life, it is an eternal flow because your soul never dies. It is immortal. But in West, man in the West has always been only an ephemeral creature of nature or a soul manufactured at birth by an arbitrary breath of the whimsical creator. Why he is using the word whimsical creator? Because according to Christian theology, why you are born here? Because you are puppy. Because you are puppy. And you are set under impossible condition to get salvation. It is your punishment. According to Christian theology, that is why progressive Western people, why they denounce religion. Because Christianity is full of this type of things. But their blunder is that they think Hinduism or Indian spirituality is also similar things. But those who have read, who have studied, who have practiced Indian spirituality, they have not only embraced Indian way of life, they have embraced Mother India also. They have become lover of Mother India. But those who have not studied, they still think that Sanatana Dharma is also like Christian Dharma. That is their blunder. So that is why it says, or a soul manufactured at birth by an arbitrary breath of the whimsical creator, set under impossible condition to get salvation, but more likely to be thrown away into burning refuse heap of hell as a hopeless failure. So according to Christianity or Semitic religion, if you are not following a life in accordance with the Bible, you will be put into the eternal hell after your death. But here, India, what India speaks, you have enough life in front of you. You can perfect gradually. You can perfect yourself gradually in each of your life. Because this is not the only life. So India speaks of gradual perfection, not perfection at a single stroke. So this is their conception about man. Man. So an ephemeral creature of nature, or a soul manufactured at birth by an arbitrary breath of the whimsical creator, or set under impossible condition to get salvation, but far more likely to be thrown away into the burning refuse heap of hell as a hopeless failure. At best, what he can do in West man, at best he is exalted by a reasoning mind. This is the only hope. At best, he is exalted by a reasoning mind and will, and an effort to be better than God or nature made him. What nature has made him, what God has made him, he can improve his condition of life only. By what? By intellectuality and by a reasoning mind. This is the only hope. But now he is speaking about Indian conception of life. Far more enabling, inspiring, filled with the motive force, filled with the motive power of a great idea. What is that great idea? Is the conception placed before us by Indian culture. A great idea has been placed before us by Indian culture. And what is that great idea? We have already discussed, we will again discuss. Man in the Indian idea is a spirit. Man in the Indian idea is a spirit, failed in the works of energy. Fails in the works of energy, moving to self-discovery, capable of Godhead. This is the great idea. You are moving towards Godhood, Godhead. You are moving towards self-discovery. You are capable of Godhead. Death is not your destiny. But for that, this life is not the only life. You will have enough life to pursue this sadhana, because your soul is immortal. You are immortal. This is the great idea put before you by Indian culture. And that is why Maharishi says, far more enabling, inspiring, filled with the motive force, filled with the motive power of a great idea. And what is that great idea? You are a spirit, failed in the works of energy. First thing. Second thing, you are moving towards self-discovery, and you are capable of what? Capable of Godhead. Is it not a great idea? Then he says, he is a soul that is growing through nature to conscious selfhood. You are a soul that is growing through nature to conscious selfhood. Conscious selfhood. He is a divinity and an eternal existence. He is a divinity and eternal existence. What is the meaning of eternal existence? You had a past, you have a present, you will also have a future. Not have a future, but you have many futures, because you are an eternal existence. You will never die. And that is why Maharishi says, whether I live or die, I am always. This is the sense of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He is an ever-flowing wave of God ocean. Ever-flowing wave of God ocean. Human being is an ever-flowing wave of God ocean. An inextinguishable spark of the supreme fire. You will not be extinguished. You are an inextinguishable spark of the supreme fire. You will continue to continue to generate spark, because you are an inextinguishable spark of the supreme fire. Supreme fire. Then he says, even he is in his uttermost reality identical with the ineffable transcendence. What I have already discussed with you, that you are already Aham Brahmasmi. I am also Brahman. I am also one without a second, but only in degrees. In substance, you, me, and Brahman are all not only similar, we are all identical, but we differ only in degrees. And that is why he says, even he is in his uttermost reality. Uttermost reality means practical reality, as you are, practical reality. Even he is in his uttermost reality, identical with the ineffable transcendence from which he came, and greater than the Godhead whom we worship. This is the most important thing. What you were asking me in the first session. You are greater than the Godhead you worship. Godhead means Devata. Small G-U-D-S, plural number. You are worshipping many Godheads. But Maharshi says you are greater than those Godheads. Because in essence, you are Brahman. Because he is in his uttermost reality, not in the outer reality. He is in his uttermost reality, identical with the ineffable transcendence. Otindriya Brahman. Ineffable, Onirvasaniya Brahman. But I differ with Brahman only in degrees, not in substance, not in essence. And then he says, the natural half animal creature that I am now, that for a while he seems to be, is not in any way his real being. This half animal creature right now I am, but this is not my real identity. What is my real identity? His inmost reality is the divine self. His inmost reality is the divine self, or at least one dynamic eternal portion of it. If you are not fully divine self, you are at least eternal divine portion. At least one dynamic eternal portion of it. At least one dynamic eternal portion of it. And to find that and exceed his outward, that is what is called surpassing. What he tells, and to find that means of which you are an eternal portion. To find that, of that as well as the eternal portion itself, both. To find that and exceed his outward apparent natural self is the greatness of which he alone of terrestrial beings is capable. Animal is not capable of. Only human beings are capable of. Capable of for what? To exceed. To exceed what? Exceed your outward apparent natural self is the greatness. This is your greatness. This is our greatness. We are capable of exceeding my apparent outward natural self, of which he alone of terrestrial being is capable. And I am in my innermost being, either I am divine self or at least one dynamic eternal portion of it. And I am capable of discovering that eternal portion. I am also capable of exceeding my apparent outward self. Apparent outward self. He has the spiritual capacity to pass to a supreme and extraordinary pitch of manhood. Extraordinary pitch of manhood. This is what is called Narottam. Extraordinary pitch of manhood, but still not Narayan. And that is the first aim which is proposed to him by the Indian culture. You have to be an extraordinary manhood. Best man, not the half animal creature. This is the first aim. And then living no more in the first crude type of an undeveloped humanity, that is to call Pashu Manav, not living in the animal manhood. You are capable of, or you have the spiritual capacity to pass to a supreme and extraordinary pitch of manhood, and that is the first aim which is proposed to him by Indian culture. But West has not provided anything like this. So, living no more in the first crude type of an undeveloped humanity to which most men still belong. And there is a Sanskrit proverb, Na yatha prakritu jana. Prakrit, like Prakrit man. Prakritjan means like ordinary people. So, to which most men still belong, nya yatha prakrito jana. He can even become a free, perfected, semi-divine man, mukta siddha. So, extraordinary peaks of manhood is the first stage. But this is not the last stage. You are also capable of, you can also become a free, perfected, semi-divine man, mukta siddha. Mukta siddha. But this is, I think, first one is becoming to affirm yourself in this universe, extraordinary pitch of manhood, beyond beyond your first crude type of an undeveloped humanity. Second is the best man. To evolve means you have to become mukta and siddha. But Maharshi says, no, this is not all for you. There is something more in the package of human existence, but he can do more. But he can do more. Released into the cosmic consciousness, which I have spoken you in the first session. Cosmic consciousness means when your individual consciousness will be merged with the universal consciousness. So, but he can do more. Released into the cosmic consciousness, his spirit can become one with the God. One with the God, one self with the spirit of the universe, or rise into a light or vastness that transcends the universe. His nature can become one dynamic power with the universal nature, or one light with a transcendental genosis. This is what is called surpassing yourself. So these are the three states he is now here explaining. First one is Nara. Nara is higher than the undeveloped humanity. Then you have to become Naruttam. You are to evolve yourself. You are to transform yourself into Mukta and Siddha. And what is Mukta and Siddha? Semi-divine person. And after that, you have the spiritual capacity to unite yourself with the God itself. But for that, by by releasing by releasing into the cosmic consciousness, his nature can. But this will happen in two ways. One is called evolutionary way. One is called revolutionary way. Evolutionary way is the very slow, timid process, slow process, many wastes. It is the ordinary life. For that, you may have crores of lives, but eventually you are moving towards self-discovery and moving towards uniting yourself with God. But it is what is called evolutionary way. That means you are not conscious of your goal. You are without your knowledge being led to your own self-discovery by something else, by something else. So, but when you will be conscious of, when you will be consciously cooperating with the nature's will, with the will of the divine, then it is called revolutionary way. This revolutionary way is nothing but the yogic consciousness, yoga. This revolutionary way is the yoga, ordinary life is the evolutionary way. It is up to your choice. Nobody can compel you. Whether you will be consciously pursuing a particular discipline or you will be pursuing your normal, ordinary human life, it is up to you. In both ways, you are driven towards your self-discovery and towards uniting yourself with the God. But that is a very slow process, very slow process. There are many wastages that takes place. Many wastages take place in that process. But when you will be conscious, when you will be consciously cooperating with the divine will, the will of your soul, when the will of your spirit, will of the God, will of your soul, will of your vital, will of your intellectuality, will of your reason, all will be united, then it is called revolutionary way of transformation. Revolutionary way of transformation. And here comes the role of yogic discipline. And he says, because, in other words, to be shut up forever in his ego is not his ultimate perfection. To be shut up in his ego forever. And he can become a universal soul, one with the supreme unity, one with others, one with all beings. One with all beings. You are capable of. You are forever not shut up in the perilous prison cell of your ego. And ego is separative consciousness. Right now, you are separated from the whole world. I am Diganta Biswa Sarma. This is my house. This is my brother. This is my job. This is my bank balance. Everywhere this my dominates. My dominates. Because I am being led by a separative consciousness. This is my software. Ego is my software, which is driving me right now. This has to be consciously replaced by the consciousness of my own soul. I will have to allow my soul to take the leadership of my life. So this is the high sense and power concealed in his humanity, which West never speaks of, which West has not spoken so far, that he can aspire to the perfection and transcendence. So lastly, last, and he can arrive at it by what? This is the main thing, because you are concerned about, or you are thinking about how I can proceed from my ordinary life to that extraordinary pitch of manhood, or towards semi-divine manhood, that is to say mukta or siddha, or how I can unite myself with the God, with the all beings, with the whole universe, how I can be one dynamic power with the nature, how there are lots of procedures. Maharishi very beautifully has summarized. He can arrive at it. By how? Through any or all of his natural powers. And what are your natural powers? Your reason, your knowledge, your intellectuality, your mind, your will, your vital. These are your natural powers. Either you can take the help of all the powers, or you can take help of one power according to your own svabhava and swadharma. It is up to your freedom. So he can arrive at it through any or all of his natural powers if they will accept release. But they will have to be ready for mukti or release. Because right now, all your powers are also set up in the perilous prison cell of ego. They have to will for release. They have to will for release. That is why aspiration, a comprehensive aspiration, is the first step towards that self-discovery. If they will accept release, through what? Through his mind and reason and thought, and through your love. Or through his will and its dynamic drive towards mastery and right action, through your willpower, that is to say karma yoga. So karma yoga is related to your will. Bhakti yoga is related to your heart and love. And Gyan yoga is related to knowledge, reason, mind, thought, etc. But with a different way. He is taking a different way. I am pursuing Jnana yoga. Your mind and thought and be pursuing Jnana yoga. Your mind and thought and reason will be fermentations. When you will reason will be fermentations. When you will be pursuing through your heart, through bhakti yoga, then heart and your life will be your instruments.